Live stream test 1, 2, 3, 4. Live stream test 5, 6, 7.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron Thomas in the broadcast booth for another exciting afternoon of volleyball here at Essex, CCBC Essex. Essex is taking on Howard here to start. The Knights looking to go 2-0 this week after being victorious on Tuesday. And there, Nicole Campbell wasn't, or excuse me, that was Sabrina Bradford. Bradford wasn't expecting that one to come up on her as quickly as it did. Serve now over to Howard. 1-1 is our score. A little soft touch over the net by James. And there's Benzinger. Good rally here early in the first set. Took 4 sets for the Knights to be victorious on Tuesday. There was Thrapis, I believe. Putting it into the net for the Knights. And the Knights, slow start for them. Giving up some early points for the Dragons. Benzinger digs that one out early. Thrapis over the net. And here come the Dragons. And they're the ones with the communication breakdown this time.
Phil, you got it now? What's it say?
It says 0-0.
No, don't hit overlay. Hit overlay again now and turn it back on.
Now we have a serve, Thrapis. Dragons time to set up and do. Great play there. Coming number 5, Mbumbe Kamau. Set up Benzinger and give her a chance. Dragons try and chase that one down. 2 white jerseys were there, but just as the ball was hitting the ground. Missed opportunity there, but a good setup led to that point. Knights taking over the service game. James serving for them. And that'll tie the game up. Let's see if James and the Knights can string together some points. And a good job there. Don't think there was a lot of power behind that shot. I think it was more about the placement. Perfect into that near back corner. James, another serve. This one, great placement again. Puts it right in the middle where no one was. Knights have to get it over here, and do. The rally will continue. For how much longer? Benzinger taking the blame for that one from her teammates, saying, my bad. Kind of a reaction, just stick the fist out there. Good serve there by the Dragons. Knights answer right back with a nice shot of their own. And good net game there. And great effort from Rachel Dotson. Doesn't lead to anything other than the Dragons surrendering the lead here. Knights take their first lead. And here is Heather Bertling taking over the serve here for the Knights. And that's an ace. As that one right onto Sasha Radlet. Maybe a little bit too high, though. Here come the Dragons again, and that was a great shot. Sydney Tucker put that one on the back line and got the side out. And the serve will go back to the Dragons. They watch their lead turn into a deficit. And let's see if they can answer back here, serving. And there was a little bit of a communication breakdown there between the Dragons. Partly that and partly just misplayed the ball. Thought it was going to land in front of her. Instead landed behind. Gives the Knights the service and the point. And they're rallying. Dragons not really setting up the big hitters in this first set. As I say that, they do that just right there. And the net play. The play at the net by the Knights there. A little bit of a dispute about the point. Thrapis kills that one off. Nice move there. Setting up a big hitter. And an ace there for Benzinger and the Knights. It's hard to come back from a serve like that. So much power behind that shot.
I would change a little bit of it, which I think you can figure out what I changed. Wasn't anything major.
Thrapis had to make a good effort to try and get that one over. Almost did. Curled back, though. And the side out. Knights have their largest lead of the game, though, now, 4. And that one is in. Far corner. Bradford with the point. This is Dutton with the serve. Dragons are struggling with first contact here a couple times on the serve. They've gotten to the ball, just struggled once they've gotten there, and there's a soft touch over the net by Janae James. And we'll have a timeout taken by the Dragons. First one taken. 13-7 is the score right now. Dragons found themselves in the lead earlier in this first set, but it has been all night since then. Going to talk things over. Gary Troy, the head coach for the Dragons, want to find something to get back into the driver's seat, to help his team get back into the driver's seat here in the first set. Fans starting to pile in here. And Dutton still with the serve. That one is just in. Man, that was very close. I think Dutton was as surprised as anyone. At least that's what I'm guessing her reaction was. It looked like she had a hand over her mouth as to say, wow, did that just really happen? I think maybe she thought that was a little long, but it just snuck in on there on the line. Should get credit for the ace. Here come the Dragons. Soft touch over the net. Great effort, though, by Dutton. Got down onto the ground. Couldn't pop it up to one of the teammates, though. Instead, put it into the net, and the Dragons take over possession. Serve now. 14-8 is our score. James with the soft touch right over the net. Got to have the perfect touch on those plays at the net by like James just had there. Too much of a cupping motion, and we'll get the whistle from the umpire. Good serve there by Bradford. Gets the ace. Bradford was very good with the service game on Tuesday. So many of the Knights very good with the service game on Tuesday. Benzinger went on a great run, as well as Thrapis and James. And that one is well out. Definitely long there. As I look up and notice it's 17-8 on the score. Just now realizing the Knights getting very close to wrapping this first set up. Got to get it over here. Thrapis put it over, but over and out of bounds instead of over the net. The Knights got out to a fast start in their game on Tuesday against Frederick, winning the first two sets, dropping the third, but then picking up the win in the fourth. Well on their way to a fast start here today as well. 18-9 is the score. Thrapis serving. Chance to maybe close this out. Going a nice long run to finish the first set. Setting up Thrapis after the serve. And it's put into the net. And the point will be awarded to Thrapis and the Knights. Side out, even though that's not what. Dragons have to get it over here. They do, but it'll give the Knights a chance to set up. Thrapis coming from the middle, put that right in the middle. No white jerseys there. A couple of them were trying to get down to the knees make the save, but couldn't do it fast enough, and a timeout is taken by the Dragons, their final timeout of this first set. They're 5 points away from going down 1-0. Good serve coming out of the break, but Howard gets the point on the return, and you see the excitement on their faces afterwards. Much needed point, needed to put a stop to the Knights' run, and they need to go on a run of their own if they want to keep their hopes alive of winning this first set, and the point will be given to Howard there. So 2-point run now. See if they can extend on that. Sasha Redelit is serving here, and if I'm reading this correctly, she's all the way out of Belgium. And James mistimed the jump there. Want to hit that ball at the top of the jump. She was hitting that ball on the way down instead. 3-0 run right now for the Dragons, cutting the lead to 8. And maybe I jinxed them there. As soon as I brought that up, they put the serve right into the middle of the net. Give the point and the serve to the Knights. Janae James taking over the serve. James, serve. And a great move there by Thrapis, as that was a great hit by Sydney Tucker. James, great communication, calling off her teammates. The rally continues, but eventually the point is earned by the Knights. Emily Dutton with the winner, and later on maybe the chicken dinner. Nice move, coming right out of the middle with the big hit. Here's James, and James, you can see it from her face right away. She knew I was a little bit of a mishit, side out. And the point and the serve go to the Dragons. Rachel Dotson serving for them. Dragons have to get it over here. There's Tucker. Gonna set up Benzinger with the cannon, and that one is in. It looked like it was just out, but then again, it did look like it may have deflected off of a Dragons player. Regardless, they get time to set up Benzinger, and it pays off. Get it to the big hitter. Here's the Dragons, can't get that one over the net. But Heather Bertling is serving here, and serving on set point. Chance to go up 1-0 here, 2-0. Bertling, good serve into the near corner. Gonna set up Benzinger again, and it'll count for the point and the first set victory. 25-13 is going to be the score after the first set. We'll take a short break, be back right after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here and ready for the second set. First set was won by the Knights. 25-13 was the score. And the Knights are off to a good start here as the side out by the Dragons gets us started here. Dragons had a couple really nice rallies in there. Went on a 3-point run at one point, but for the most part, that first set was dominated by the Knights, and a lot of that has to do with the service game and, of course, the big hitters that the Knights possess. Benzinger, Thrappis, and Dutton will surprise you with a couple big hits as well. And the soft play up front by James always seems to be in the right place at the right time. Here are the Dragons, soft touch of their own. But James comes right back and does that voodoo that she do. A 3-0 run here to start this second set. You know, I was talking about those big hitters of the Knights. Forgot to put Bradford in there. She's got quite the cannon as well. On full display that time as Bradford went a little long on the serve. Gives over possession to the Dragons. And after a 3-point run to start, Dragons have a chance to answer back and do there. Ace credited to Radlett, girl out of Belgium. And the point given to Howard that time. The Dragons tie things up here. Answer back with a little run of their own. Can it continue? Short hit, just barely gets over the net, but it does get over the net. And the point is given to the Dragons, though. Sasha continuing. This is 3 straight points now for the Dragons, answering back from the Knights' 3 straight 3-point run earlier in this set. Thrappis, big hit, but just... Oh, that was in. Looked like from this angle that was just out, but sneaks in on the inside part of the line. Thrappis gets the kill, puts a stop to the 3-point run that the Dragons were in the middle of. And the Knights can't go on a run to answer back, though, as Thrappis puts that out of bounds. Rachel Dotson serving here for the Dragons. Knights rally back. Get the point. Janae James now serving here. Coach Koger with some words of encouragement for Nicole Lopez Santos. And Janae James with the side out. Hot Potatoes second set continues. Neither team really establishing any kind of dominance. The ace won by the Dragons. And you gotta notice that the Dragons' energy level picked up big time since the first set. Benzinger trying to place that one perfectly. Thrappis doing a great job taking out those big hits. But that time, couldn't place it over to a teammate. Dragons continue their run here. Maybe they're the team that's going to establish some dominance here, and Thrappis, her face says it all there. shocked that that one was in, but it was indeed in. Good ace. 2 aces in a, not in a row, excuse me, the 2 aces here on this run. Service game coming in handy for the Dragons. Largest lead of any team, for any team here in the second set. Make it a little bit bigger here, and it will. Looked like the Knights were out of position, and indeed they were. Dragons capitalize on it, and their lead is now up to 5. Their largest lead of the game coming here in this second set. And there is one that the Dragons wish they could have back. Elizabeth Quinton, freshman out of Columbia, Maryland, put that one right into the middle of the net, and the look on her face says it all afterwards. Dragons were on a nice little run here. Knights need to answer back with a run of their own. Stay alive here in this first set. And that one is just in, right in on the corner. That near back corner. Bradford didn't have a lot of room to sneak that one in, but somehow did. And now Bradford with the serve. She'll get another one there. Came in a little hot on Rachel Dotson. Not sure she was expecting it to come in as quickly as it did. Soft touch over the net by the Dragons. Catches the Knights out of position. Heather Bertling did everything she could to try and get to that ball, but couldn't get there in time. 11-8. The Knights get a couple points back there on that run. Can they get some more? They can't there. Benzinger saying my bad. Looks like she mistimed that jump a little bit. Also didn't get a great hit on it. And the Dragons cannot capitalize as they give the ball right back, and Benzinger taking over the serve. This is a great chance for the Knights to regain some kind of momentum here in this second set. Second set that's been dominated by the Dragons for the most part. And there is an ace. An ace for Benzinger. And even when you can get in front of the ball, it's so hard to bring it back on, send it back onto the other side of the court when it's coming with that much power. The Knights get the point again. Back-to-back points here for the Knights. Thanks in large part to the service game. Chance to tie things up here with another one. Rally will come. Set up. Here's Thrapis. And the point. And it's tied up. Thought Thrapis was going to have a little bit more mustard behind that shot. Instead, she went for placement instead, and it paid off big time. Point. Knights, and another point for the Knights there as they get the ace and force the issue as the Dragons now take a timeout. At one point they led 5 here in this second set. They've watched their 5-point lead turn into a 1-point deficit as it's 13-12 in favor of the Knights here in this second set. The Knights are victorious here in the second set. They'll go up 2-0, which will make the third set even more interesting. I want to take this time, ladies and gentlemen, to thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us all season long, whether it's volleyball action or men's and women's soccer. It's always entertaining to spend your afternoons or evenings with us here at CCBC Essex. Watch some great competition. Two teams back out onto the court. Benzinger still serving here. Benzinger wearing number 9. Sophomore out of Delaney High School. Former Lion. Coaches for the Dragons preaching talk. Not hearing a lot of talk right now, but they'll cheer after they get the point. Tie things back up, side out. Dragons take over possession. Serving for them will be Jasmine Bumbray, freshman out of Ellicott City. It's a very competitive second set. Nice change of pace after a first set that was dominated by the Knights. Freebie point given to the Knights there. Emily Dutton taking over serve. Dutton, a freshman out of Sparrows Point High School. Coaching staff, Mr. Gary Troy, arguing that last call from the ump. And that one is going to be out. Coaching staff for the Dragons calling that one. Dutton, a little bit too much mustard on that dog. And the setup was a little bit too close to the net. Thrapis never had a real good chance to get to that one. Lead is now given back to the Dragons. But the Dragons give it right back to the Knights, as now we're all tied up again at 15. Benzinger, great eyes there. Getting a little bit of a help from the sideline, of course, though, but noticing that that one was going to be out. That was very close to being in. I'm sure I probably would have went after it. And there's a great hit there from the Dragons, getting them the point. Had two Knights players there, but too much power on that shot. No Knights players could get down fast enough to make the play, as Sabrina Haskins checks into the game here. Haskins made some big plays on Tuesday, led to some points, particularly in a very competitive third set. This is a second set that's much different than the second set that the Knights played on Tuesday. On Tuesday, they dominated the second set. This one, very, very competitive. And there was a great play at the net by Thrapis. Had a chance to set up one of the big hitters in the Knights. Took advantage of it. Who will be serving here? Thrapis. So she got the point there, and now she'll take over serve. You know she's thinking run here. 16 points, very close. I was about to say very close to the end of this second set. A great play there by the Dragons. Just a soft touch to where no Knights players were. Get them the point and get them back in control of the serve here. Dotson serving. Benzinger gets a chance to get set up, and she takes advantage of it. Right on that near line. She got a chance for that big hit. James is serving here. Good communication here from the two teams, between the two teams. Benzinger gets the point there, the winner. Back-to-back points for her. James going to take advantage of it or try to here on the serve. 18 points. Remember, it's the first one to 25, so we're getting very close to the end of this second set. A nice little run here would go a long way for the Knights in securing a second set victory here. And James has now secured 2 straight points for her team, thanks in large part due to her stellar service game. That one, not so stellar though. You could tell that one wasn't going to be really good from the beginning. You saw the run up, hesitated a little bit. It's almost like going for a steal in baseball. If you hesitate, it's usually going to work against you. There's a good serve there from the Dragons. But Benzinger gets a chance to get set up and fakes out the Dragons. Benzinger, you're looking at her going up from that angle at the net. You think she's going to lay out a big hit. Instead, she goes for the soft touch over the net. None of the Dragons players were expecting that one. And there is a missed touch. And the look on Rachel Dotson's face says it all. Frustration starting to set in here in the second set, as the score is 21-18 in favor of the Knights. And a timeout taken. The energy is up for the Knights here in this second set. They know they are very close to going up 2-0, which would make the third set very, very interesting. And Bertling serving here for the Knights. And the Knights find themselves in a very good position here to restart this second set, as they're 4 points away from being victorious here in the second set. And it's a great rally here between these two teams. Who's going to get the point? The Knights will. Kind of a gimme there. The mistake by the Dragons leads to the point. And now the magic number for the Knights here in the second set is just 3. And the Knights, kind of a gimme there. They find themselves out of position there, which leads to the point for the Dragons. I know I just got finished saying the magic number for them is 3, but the Dragons are right behind them, so they can't afford to give them free chances to go on runs. Dragons could very much answer right back here, and they don't, as that one was just a little long. As Benzinger will take over serve. Magic number is now 2. Dragons had a chance, but they wasted it away there. And Benzinger wastes away her chance there. She put that one right into the middle of the net. A little bit of a meltdown here as we're headed into the final stages of this second set, as now the Dragons are in the 20-point mark. And remember, you got to win by 2, so if the Dragons can go on a nice little run here, they could answer back. And man, that one was in, but not by much. Serve here for the Knights, Dutton. little bit of an argument there about whether that last ball was in or out. It was very close. Don't envy the referees sometime. And the set point goes to the Nets, or excuse me, the Knights. The Nets aren't getting very many points. Knights take over. Take over big time here as they will walk into the third set up 2-0. The same position they were in on Tuesday. On Tuesday, they weren't able to close it out in 3 sets. Instead, it took them 4. Let's see what they've got here on Thursday. We'll take a short little break, and we'll be back after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here and ready for what could be the third and final set as the Knights come into this third set up 2-0. First set by the Knights was fairly one-sided. They pretty much dominated the Dragons there. Second set, more of a back-and-forth contest, but of course the Knights still coming out victorious. Sabrina Bradford, number 8, sophomore out of Hereford, excuse me. She will be serving for the Knights, but not for long, as that serve will only last one. The service opportunity for the Knights will only last one as they give the point to the Dragons and they take over here. A fast start would really help the Dragons' chances here in this third set. And the net play there, a little weak from the Knights as they found themselves out of position. Then again, maybe not expecting it to go over that quickly. Regardless, not the way the Knights wanted to start this third set. That's still very early. Soft touch in front of the net there from the Dragons, trying to catch the Knights out of position. Don't that time, as Benzinger answers, puts it over, and that one is out. Just barely, very close. Benzinger was hustling all the way. At the last moment, she realized that one wasn't worth her time, and now Thrapis takes over the serve. Knights have really been going on these short runs, 3-4 points at a time. It works, whatever works. But at no point here have the Knights gone on a long 8 or 10-point run like they did on Tuesday. Maybe they're due for one here in the third set. Not happening right now, though. Bad serve there as the Dragons put that not even to the middle of the net. That was more in the lower portion of the net. Just a miss hit all around. James here with the serve. Speaking of miss hits, James keeps the trend going as she gives the service right back as Rachel Dotson will take over. Dutton tried to load up big time there coming from the middle. She had good position. She couldn't get it over though. Dotson still serving. Dragons, best start they've had in this game. And it's being helped by the Knights as they are not helping themselves here. 6-2 is the score. Dotson's serve continues. Service game coming in handy here for the Dragons. Great play at the net. Knights kind of needed to get that monkey off their back there, and they finally do. Starting to look like they were going to watch the Dragons maybe run away with it in the early part of this third set. But a great play at the net, and then the ace. Just breathing a little bit of new life here into this third set. As 5-point lead is now turned into 2. Or 4-point lead, excuse me, has turned into 2. And a short play in front of the net, but too much of a cup. Bertling getting the words of encouragement from her coaching staff. Knights have to get this over. Great recovery there from Thrapis and Benzinger. Thrapis put it over to her, and Benzinger loaded up the big gun and got the point for her team, and more importantly, tied this thing back up at 6-6. Third set that was being dominated by the Dragons, starting to look like it may turn around here as the Knights are starting to find their footing here in what could be the third and final set. Bertling. Great run of serves here. She took over at a point where the Knights were down by 3, and now they're up by 1. Tells you all you need to know right there, pretty much. Bradford, make sure this rally continues. This is one of the best ones we've seen here in this game. The net play was great, and it forced the error by the Dragons. Play at the front of the net by the Knights was tremendous. Bradford and Dutton were there. And this continues, this run. And it'll continue as Bertling gets the ace. On this run, she has had 2 aces. And the timeout taken by Howard. This is a 6-point run for the Knights. Will the run continue after this short break? Or can Coach Gary Troy of the Dragons find a way to slow things down, get his team back in the driver's seat here in this third set? For a while, well, not a while since we're still in the early part of this third set, but to start the third set, the Dragons were in the driver's seat and looking like they may start to pull away a little bit, but a good play at the net by Dutton got possession back to the Knights, and it's been a very different song and dance ever since then, as the Knights are starting to look like the team who may be running away with things here in the early stages of the third set. That play in front of the net, always so big. An ace does a lot for momentum, but killing off a big shot at the net, I think does just as much, maybe if not more, for a team's momentum, because it really drains the other team's momentum. There's a nice play by Jasmine Bumbray. Get down to the knees, save that one. Let the rally continue, but Benzinger gets a chance to get set up, and smile on her face says it all. Set him up, knock him down. Great play by the sophomore, number 9, Ann Benzinger. Bertling continues with the serve. It's now an 8-point serve, or excuse me, a 9-point run here with the serve game. It's a tremendous turn of events here in the early part of this third set. It was all Dragons to start, but Emily Dutton's big play at the net switched things over, and now 3 aces. Three aces for Bertling in this run. Benzinger gets set up, and oh, that one was just out. All good things must come to an end there, and Benzinger was a little bit overzealous. Put that one out of bounds. Rally is on right now, and a good move there by Bertling. Dig it out, but the point is given to the Dragons by the Knights. Dragons need to answer with a run of their own. At one point they held a 4-point lead here, but now they're watching themselves dig a 5-point hole for themselves. Point's going to go the other way, actually. This is man on the line, calls off the head ump. Benzinger gets that point right back, though. They take a point away, but they give it. take that point away, but have to give it right back. And Benzinger, another ace there. That one came up very fast on Dotson. Dotson doing the my bads all around to her teammates. That one came right up on her, but not much she could do there. A lot of mustard on that shot. Benzinger trying to take advantage of it again. That time Dotson was ready. And here come the Knights. Thrapis puts that one in just barely. Close counted that time. Great move in that near far corner. And a freebie given to the Knights. Those are the kind of plays that the Dragons can't afford to give to the Knights. They'll be watching themselves walk away with the loss here. Benzinger on a nice little run here. 2 aces on the service game here. 17-8 is the score. Knights getting into closing time here in this third set. Point given to the Dragons there, so Dragons an opportunity to go on a run here. Answer the third set. Third set that was initially being dominated by the Dragons, but the wheels have started to really fall off the bus here. The Dragons are in a dangerous position as Dutton takes over serve, and the Knights sitting on 18 points as they're getting close to closing this third set out and closing the game. Walking out of this weekend walking into the weekend 2-0. And Knights had to get it over there. They do. And the Dragons cannot rally to the ball. So the Knights got a victory on Tuesday, and they're getting close to securing a victory here on Thursday. And the Dragons put that one right into the net and give the 20th point to the Knights, and Bradford with the serve here. Chance put together a little run, close the door. Dragons had to get it over there. Rally's coming. Thrapis, good hit. The Dragons rally, got to put it over. They do. Great recovery. James with the soft touch. Good position, but the Dragons answer right back. Rally continues. Thrapis puts a stop to it, though. The kill on that far sideline. That's been Thrapis' area all game. It's worked out for her big time. Bradford, serve coming. Good serve there. And great play at the net. James and Haskins there. Haskins is the one who gets credit for the point. Great move. Always helps to have the player with the fresh legs coming in off the bench. Haskins making some moves here, and an ace by Bradford moves the magic number up to 2 as we're sitting on 23-10 in favor of the Knights. And a recovery there as Benzinger goes all out. She'll take the towel and clean up the wet spot on the court. The effort spot, though, as I would call it. They get those wet spots from diving onto the ground. Getting some of the wet jersey on the floor. 23-11 is the score, and Benzinger, overhead shot. Thrapis had to do her best to try and get that over. Somehow did. A little long. She's getting some grief from the sidelines there. Magic number still sits at 2 for the Knights, and it'll go up to 1 there. Thrapis. Great move there from her spot, and she'll have a chance to close the door personally here, as this is now set and match point. 24-12. Thrapis could close the door here with an ace. Thrapis won't get the ace, but James, nice soft touch at the net. Rally continues. Bradford sets up Benzinger. Benzinger will be the one to get the point. And that is set and match. 3-set sweep by the Knights. And they are 2-0 here this week. We'll see you on Saturday for more CCBC athletics. I'm Aaron Thomas. Thanks for joining us. And enjoy the rest of your evening. Good evening, good afternoon, or good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I'll get it right next time.